If you're going through the motions in your relationship, if your conversations are polite but empty, if physical affection has quietly faded, you might think you're just going through a rough patch. But I want you to stop right now, because what you're missing might be far more serious. What you're experiencing could be the earliest signs of emotional collapse, the moment your relationship silently starts to sink. You won't notice it at first. You'll still smile in photos. You'll still go on date nights. You'll still tell your friends that you're fine. But underneath all of that, no. Underneath everything else, your bond is eroding. Today, I'm going to show you the 7 hidden warning signs that your relationship may already be in serious trouble, even if it looks okay from the outside. These aren't surface level issues. They're neurochemical red flags, patterns that quietly kill connection and build the resentment. And if you don't catch them right now, you might be headed toward the same emotional breakup that has ended thousands of relationships just like yours. Now, if you're like most couples in this process, you probably visualize and remember how things used to feel like. The constant talking, the way they'd look at you like you were their whole world, the sense that you had finally found your person. But now, you pass each other in the hallway without touching. You go to bed at different times. You talk about bills, chores, schedules, those mundane stuff, but you never talk about how you're really feeling and really doing. And something inside of you is starting to panic. Now, you're not sure when it changed. You just know that the closeness is gone, and every attempt to fix it feels like you're making it worse. I also know that you're afraid that one day you'll wake up and realize the love is gone, and that no one even noticed it leaving. If this is your first time here on this channel, welcome. I'm Adam Lane Smith, the attachment specialist. And as a former licensed marriage and family therapist, I have helped thousands of couples not only recover from these patterns, but reverse them completely, even when they thought it was too late. I've worked with some high-achieving men who didn't realize their relationship was falling apart till their partner walked away. And I've worked with women who blamed themselves for the collapse, when the truth is that they were both drowning. And by the end of this video, you're going to discover a few key things that you need. First is the 7 hidden patterns that show your relationship is in danger. Second is why most couples miss these signs completely. Third is what's happening inside your nervous system and your brain chemistry when your bond begins to break. And I need you to see that part because you're going to be shocked at what you discover. And then we will talk about exactly what to do if you're recognizing these signs in your own life right now. Now, this is not just another relationship tips video. These are the same principles I've used to help save relationships that were half sunk already. And I'm going to show you how to use these before it's too late. Now, we're about to get into the 7 signs, but I want to give you a very, very clear disclosure here. Okay, a lot of people walk in with this misconception that we're just in a phase right now. Okay, most couples assume this connection is kind of normal. Stress, distance, less sex. They think it's just what happens over time, that you're supposed to fall out of love. We've normalized that. But here's the real truth. Relationships don't collapse on their own, and they also don't collapse overnight. They erode slowly through tiny moments of neglect and withdrawal that feel normal until it's too late. Most couples miss these early signals because they're stressed out, they're exhausted, they're clinging to the hope that things will go back to normal. But here's the biological truth. Your brain is already rewriting your attachment to that person. And if you don't catch it in time, your nervous system will start treating your partner as a source of stress, not a source of connection. We call that a cortisol association. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. First, right now, let's go into the 7 hidden signs that your relationship is sinking. And sign number 5 is especially deadly. I need you to watch for that one, okay? Sign number 1 first. Affection starts to disappear. When a relationship begins to drift, one of the first signs we see is the vanishing of affection. Not just sex, but also casual touch, warm gestures, flirtation, emotional warmth. You stop reaching for each other. You start coexisting. At this point, a lot of women tell their partner, I need you to touch me without a motivation, an agenda. I want you to touch me and feel me and be near me. And the man says, I have no idea what you're talking about. The woman starts to crave more connection, and so does the man, but they rely solely on sex And all that in-between touching that's supposed to be taking place collapses. Now, affection is a big barometer of emotional safety. When we have safety in a relationship, we feel connected, at peace, and at rest, our oxytocin receptors, the bonding hormone for warmth, intimacy, and affection, open up. We begin to receive oxytocin, which is compulsive and contagious. So it makes us want to hug and kiss and touch and play and be flirtatious. As our oxytocin levels go down, especially if we feel unsafe and our receptors close, we have less oxytocin and we're less likely to touch, seek out, reach for, and bond with. Physical intimacy is not quite the same. It can be an outpouring expression of this. In fact, physical intimacy is supposed to be the highest form of oxytocin overflow, but emotional affection is supposed to come first. This is one of the silent signals that relationships are dying because the oxytocin bonding is dying. Affection is missing. Now, a few things start to replace affection when it disappears. Silence, distance, withdrawal. You kiss your partner and their lips are hard and they don't open up to you. You touch them and they look confused about why you're touching them. You go for a hug and they're stiff and they maybe one-arm you. They don't touch you. They maybe even pull away from you as you pass in the hallway. Oh, sorry. Almost like you're physical strangers. I get asked all the time, what is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? What is my attachment style? So I have finally launched the attachment assessment. This is not a short quiz that just spits out an answer after 3 seconds. This is a thorough, in-depth, science-backed assessment. Check it out on my website, adamlanesmith.com, and learn your attachment style, the severity of what you're dealing with, and some next steps you can take right now to build very secure attachment. A few more signs to look for. You used to touch their arm when you were walking past. Now you don't. You used to hug and kiss goodbye, maybe before work or going out. Now you barely nod. You might not even look up from your phone, or they might not. I'm going out. You used to text them something sweet during the day. Now, nothing. When you do text them, they put it on red and don't respond. Very key that oxytocin is diminishing. Okay? The absence of affection signals to your brain, by the way, that the relationship is no longer safe. They're less in love with me than ever. Attachment wounds earlier in life as a kid, by the way, begin to activate. You don't love me. You're getting tired of me. You're pulling away from me. This is cold and stale. Something bad's about to happen. Your brain will signal for you to also withdraw or to throw yourself in, even when they don't want that. This is one of the first big signals I look for. And it's probably not shocking to most of you that affection going down is a bad sign. But let's talk about number 2, because it's way more specific, okay? Sign number 2 is that stress is no longer shared. Healthy couples, they co-regulate their stress. You have a hard day, your partner wraps you up in their arms, they say, hey, let's spend the night together, let's talk, let's play, let's watch something, let's grab a really good dinner, let's feel better after our tough day. You talk it through, you share it, you enjoy, you move on. But when connection begins to break down, you start shouldering your stress solo. You don't bring it to your partner to feel better. Or worse, they become your source of stress. You might pull back. No, I don't want to talk about it. No, let's just let it go. No, I just need some time to myself. You stop seeking them out for connection, if you ever did, and you pull back and do everything alone. Now, I don't want to get this twisted. In a secure relationship, it's not about venting all your feelings to your partner all the time and they become your therapist. It's about sharing some key details of your life about why things are stressful and then working on both of you feeling better. Not one person entirely dependent on the other for how they feel, but buffering your mood with high levels of serotonin, oxytocin, dopamine, feeling better on purpose as a couple where you're both enjoying it. That's what securely attached partners are able to do. It's called co-regulating. You regulate together. This does not mean your partner is responsible and reliable for your entire stability, but it's helping come back from a strainful and difficult day. Hiding your stress from your partner is another sign of emotional withdrawal. I don't think you can help me. I'm not interested in your help. I'm going to do this alone. You're going to take too much from me. I can't afford to open up to you right now. You'll exhaust me. One partner, by the way, if they're trying to do this and pull away and the other partner's overdoing it and they become the emotional dumping ground, that backfires. So pouring out your bad stress on your partner also can really do bad things if one of you is trying to share and the other's not. Both of you sharing together and co-regulating together, very important. Some signs to look for. You have a brutal day, but you don't bother telling your partner. If you used to vent to each other, now one or both of you keep it inside. If one partner used to bond and connect and open, but now they're constantly complaining all the time, the other one's tuning it out, also not really good. Now, emotional co-regulation is important because we are relational beings. We are meant to fit together, feel better with another person, and they benefit as well. And we all get a lift biochemically. This is how we actually nurture each other. Again, it's not you helping someone recover from 20% and they're at rock bottom having miserable panic attacks every day. That's not the approach here. That's not appropriate for a partner to step in and be your source of life. But when someone is up at the top and then dips to 60% and they're exhausted and worn out, they need love and care. You help lift them up and you get lifted at the same time. Again, co-regulation. A lot of serotonin, a lot of oxytocin is involved here. Okay. Chronic stress, solo, managing that, all you can really do is pull away so your cortisol starts to bleed out and maybe throw some dopamine at it or exercise incredibly hard to barely get a little serotonin. And that's about it. It's really tough. Your nervous system feels better when you do this with somebody, especially a partner you trust. But if you don't trust your partner, your brain won't trust them to co-regulate with you, and that's a bad sign. Number 3 is going to be a surprise to many of you. Sign number 3, you spend more time outside the relationship than inside the relationship. Time, by the way, isn't just about hours. It's about emotional energy. The moment you find yourself investing more energy outside your relationship, like into work, kids, hobbies, friends, you're emotionally exiting. This does not mean don't have friends, work, or hobbies. It means if you are pouring yourself into those things to the exclusion of your relationship or as a replacement for your relationship, there's a problem. There's escaping versus recharging. Building a great work environment or a business is very different from escaping your romantic life to go to work. Workaholism is not the same as being excited about working, okay? If you spend more time out of the home and it's a relief to you, that's a problem. This whole idea of I'm just too busy, that's really I'm checked out. I'm too busy for my relationship usually means I'm emotionally checked out and running away and I don't know how to deal with the distance, so I hide in work and projects and friends. We have time. We all have time. Okay? Maybe not much, but we do. If you claim you don't, it's because you do not have a priority on your relationship. And there's a reason for that. You might actually be running away from it. We trick ourselves into thinking our priorities haven't changed because we don't want to face the hard reality that our relationship is dying. We pretend it's fine. Some signs to look for. You'd rather be at work than be home. In fact, you're finding more and more reasons to stay late than to come home. You started hanging out more with friends on purpose or spending more time in your phone searching social media or have a hobby that has replaced your couples nights and you feel relieved when your partner isn't around. This is your nervous system avoiding discomfort. Being with my partner is stressful. I will do anything else but this. I am stressed out in my life and my partner doesn't make me feel better, but this thing does, so I'll pour into this thing instead, even as I lose my relationship. I had one client who used to play really extensive video games for years and wouldn't listen to his wife right up until the day she left. Not because he was a bad man, but because he was pouring himself into comfort instead of connecting with her. The nervous system will avoid what it feels uncomfortable by. unless you push it and fix the problem. Humans prioritize psychological safety, even in maladaptive ways. We will do things that are damaging to us if it makes us feel safe short term. Dopamine-seeking behaviors, on the other hand, scrolling, hobbies, workaholism, they replace intimacy because it's a very fast boost to feel better. I went to work. I made some sales. Made $8,000. Oh, right. That's much better than being at home with my wife and kids. Shopping on Amazon. There's a lot of very unhappy wives and girlfriends who have 50 wish lists on Amazons of items they've sorted into over weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of scrolling and misery so they can just pretend to shop instead of paying attention to how unhappy they are in their relationship. A lot of small dopamine boosts adding to cart or adding to list, anticipating buying it later. The anticipation of something is actually 2 times greater than the actual dopamine you get from receiving the thing. So anticipating buying something often is even better than buying it itself. There's a lot of this going on. I know that a lot of the people watching this show right now have had attachment issues for their entire life. That's why I want to invite every single one of you to check out my attachment repair program. It just might be the jump that you need to go from insecurely attached and lonely and frustrated to fully secure, connected, and bonded in a great relationship like nothing you've ever felt before. Check out my website, adamlanesmith.com, for the attachment repair program. Now, number 4 is a sign you might be very familiar with, but I want to talk about specifically what it means. Number 4, conversations become polite but empty. When connection erodes, the conversations start sounding like coworkers or roommates, indistinguishable from people who just share space. You stop sharing hopes, dreams, fears, concerns, random thoughts. You default to logistics and pleasantries. You are roommates who pay bills together. You are coworkers working on projects together. That's it. There's a big difference, you guys, between intimacy building conversations and logistical ones. Hey, are you picking the kids up on Thursday? No, I got to grab groceries. Okay, I'll get the kids. That is not intimacy. That is logistics. How are you feeling as a parent lately? Just checking in with you. Are you feeling like you're covering ground as a mom? Are you guilty or feeling guilty for anything? Because I think you're doing incredible, but it kind of looks sometimes like you don't think you're doing that. That's an intimacy building conversation. How are you feeling in our home? What can we do in our home to help you feel more comfortable here? There's an intimacy building conversation. What do you think about our house? Should we get siding put on? Should we change things up? Logistics. Silence begins to grow from surface talk because surface talk is pointless. When talking achieves nothing, talking eventually stops. There's a very subtle grief involved in this of no longer being known. If you've ever been in a situation like this, it hurts. And people can't really articulate why it hurts. They might say it used to feel so connected and now it doesn't. But really, it's a grief that nobody knows me anymore. The person who knew me best now no longer cares if they know me or not. I am alone in this world all over again. It's grief and loss. Some signs to look for here. If most of your conversations are about groceries, bills, the kids' schedule, really bad sign. If you feel awkward bringing up any deep topics, like I just talked about a moment ago, hey, how are you feeling as a mom? What can I do to support you? How are you feeling as a father? I think you're doing great, just to clarify, but how are you feeling as a father? What can I do to support you there? How do you feel in our home? What can we do to make this place more comfortable for you? How are you feeling in our sex life? What's something you'd maybe like for us to try? If you can't have those conversations, bad sign. If you miss being asked, how you really doing? Bad sign. Okay? Emotional vulnerability. It creates a lot of connection. It creates a lot of important connection of you cared enough to ask, you care enough to listen, then you care enough to do something about it. But if you don't do that and get your brain in the habit of doing it, you'll begin to fear rejection or judgment. You'll begin to fear that you're not welcome. Oftentimes, both sides are unhappy that the conversation has died, but they don't know what to do about it. And they're both afraid of getting rejected or shut down or even laughed at if they try to open up again. We often just numb out at this point instead of opening up. Now, I promised number 5 was brutal, and I want to talk about this one very specifically because a lot of you are doing this. Number 5, you're performing for the outside world. The relationship might be collapsing behind closed doors, but out in public, you play the part. You smile at dinners, you post happy pictures on Facebook and Instagram, you keep up appearances, you tell everybody we're doing great, we're just celebrating our anniversary next month. But inside, you feel like a fraud. There's pressure to maintain an image. Secrecy, though, creates deeper shame. Every time you say something that isn't true, your brain matches it against reality and gets more sad, maybe more resentful, more hurt. Your brain says, why do I have to lie? And not, why should I tell the awful truth necessarily, but why is the truth so awful? That secrecy begins to eat at you. Pretending like this prevents true repair. Pretending actually fosters despair in you, because every time you pretend, part of you dies a little more. Some signs to look for. If you're arguing in the car and then holding hands at the party, if you post anniversary messages you don't really believe, if you lie when someone asks, how are you two doing? Not good, okay? Signs that you're losing the relationship right there. If the external is way better than the internal, you've got a serious problem on your hands. Now, there is a role of ego and shame in the performance, right? I'm not saying go out and tell everyone you hate your life. Being honest usually does put some pressure to fix things, and that's not a bad thing. Usually you say everything's beautiful and perfect right up until people hear, hey, we're filing for divorce. Why? Everything's so great. Well, it's not great. I've been lying to you for 10 years, right? We mask pain instead of seeking help because most of us are utterly terrified of seeking help. In fact, if we opened up and told everyone around us, hey, we're really struggling and we need help. Is there anyone out there who knows what to do? You might actually repair the relationship, but most of us are programmed to never, ever, ever, ever make that kind of noise because it will get unwanted attention. Everyone will abandon you and judge you. So then you're emotionally inauthentic. And then being emotionally inauthentic makes you more ashamed of yourself. And then angry at your partner for making you lie constantly. Now, sign number 6 is also pretty horrible. And many of you are in this one right now. And you don't think it's that big of a deal, but it is. Sign number 6, unspoken resentment is stacking up. Resentment, it's often the silent killer because it grows sometimes into contempt. It accumulates in the very quiet moments. Every unmet need, every unresolved conflict, every moment you didn't speak up, every lie you have to tell. Eventually, resentment seeps into everything. Internally, resentment sounds like, man, I have to do this because of them. Another one, another day, another time like this, another lie I have to tell, another touch I don't get to have. Man, I could really use a hug today, but I guess I don't get one because I'm married to you. Internal, never spoken. This is the cost of avoiding conflict. Pain doesn't go away until it's resolved. It just festers and stacks up. But we convince ourselves it's not a big deal. You know, people go through rough patches. Everybody's lying. All their marriages are terrible anyway. Everybody's just lying. No one's happy. So what does it matter? I'll just tell one more lie. Who cares? That just is what it is. Many of you have this level of resentment. And you're lying to yourself and saying you don't. You might not even understand what resentment feels like. You've lived with it most of your life. First with your parents, now with your partner. Okay? Signs that you have resentment. You snap over minor things. Even if you don't let it out, you snap internally and you start muttering. Okay? Or you let it out. You daydream about being alone. You feel like your partner never changes, never helps you, never gets better, never cares about you. The nevers, the absolutes, okay? The emotional cost of self-silencing is eternal misery until it erupts and explodes and destroys everything you care about. Resentment reshapes your perception of your partner and fosters a sense that you are my problem. My problem is not attachment and life and stress it's you. You're my problem. these wounds begin to fester unless you resolve them. We'll talk about that here in a minute. The biggest one, this one breaks my heart when I see it. Sign number 7, you stop repairing after conflict. Every couple has fights. Every couple has disagreements. I'm not saying fighting is normal. We actually need to resolve them permanently, but every couple has disagreements and issues and bad days. Healthy couples repair after the conflict. But if you skip the repair phase, no apology, no reflection, no reconnection, no reunification, then it's just one hurt after another. Conflict becomes cumulative, trust erodes, resentment goes up, and there's no hope of it getting fixed. There's a big difference between conflict and rupture, by the way. A rupture is when something terrible has happened and a big breach and you got to repair from it, like infidelities. Conflict is, hey, I forgot something. We had a problem. We didn't do this thing. Hey, I should have done this. I didn't help you feel the way you needed to feel. I wasn't there for you in this way, not a giant one, but a small one. Hey, this happened and our schedules are conflicting. I have a need. I don't know if I can ask you for that, right? Repair actually matters more than resolution. Resolution to a conflict is, here's a problem. Here's what we'll do to solve it. Cool. Repair afterward is, I still care about you. You still care about me. We don't have to walk on eggshells. We don't have to feel weird. We can feel safer than before because we proved that we care about each other. Repair is proof that you still care after the conflict's resolved. Okay? The reunification after is crucial. If you've ever been in an argument and then you guys sort of resolve it, but then you feel like you have to tiptoe for several days afterward to see if they're still mad at you or not, that's the absence of repair. Okay? And that stacked up over years destroys everything you love. Some signs to really look forward to here, okay? Fights just go away, but they're never really resolved. Apologies feel forced, or they don't happen at all. There's no real closeness after tension. You find yourself wondering how they even feel about you, and you have to hope it's okay. You feel like you have to walk on eggshells after a discussion in case it blows up in your face again. You don't really know if things are resolved on their side. You just have to hope. And you don't know what this has done to your relationship. You try to make them feel good so that they don't go away. When you repair, it's a confirmation that you're safe. It's a flood of that oxytocin hormone. Dopamine, serotonin, everything floods, and you feel that sense of belonging, and you have safety. You don't have to be scared anymore because even though we had a conflict, we still belong. This is actually the key to building secure attachment is conflict and then unification. We had conflict, but I still love you. Now we can have conflicts without fear of losing love. That's secure attachment. Repeated, unrepaired conflict rewires attachment in the wrong direction. Every time we fight, you love me less. That's a lack of emotional safety. Now, there's a lot of you out there having these experiences right now. And this is what I do with couples, okay? I run them through this checklist and I say, I need you to give yourself a score. Go through the 7 signs, give yourself a score. 1 point for each of them, okay? 1 point for each of the things you're experiencing. Now, if you have, let's say, 1 or 2 of these signs, okay? You're early in the slide. This is not normal things. This is not just a phase. You're early in the slide. 1 or 2 points, the time to act is now. Get in, start fixing it, build a great relationship. If you're 3 to 5, you're in real danger, okay? Repair is possible, but you had better get on that fast because you are heading into a very bad place, okay? Now, if you have 6 or 7 of these signs, you need immediate intervention or you need to rethink this relationship. That's the phase where most people start to file for divorce, okay? 7 of these, death. Very, very difficult for you to navigate through, especially on your own. I've helped plenty of couples come back from 7 out of 7, but it's very hard. And it's not something you could probably do without assistance. That's step 1, is to give yourself a score. Now, step 2 is to then go through, set your score aside, look at places where you are just winging it. Okay? I'm a big fan of finding skill gaps. First, where am I guessing? What don't I know? Is it what my partner desires, how they feel, if they're happy in our relationship, how they feel as a parent, what they need from me, what they're looking for, what they need on a bad day, what they need on a good day? And then where am I faking it? Where am I just trying to please and pretend because I don't know? Where am I silently confused? Where am I concerned? Where are my question marks? Okay? Where am I winging it? Not knowing what to do drives a tremendous amount of anxiety, overwhelming anxiety, and makes most people exhausted. Okay? List every place in your relationship where you don't feel certain or clear or safe, and have a real conversation with your partner about those points. Hey, I'm finding that these are 5 or 6 really target areas where I have no idea what you think, what you feel, or what you want. Is it okay if I just ask you these? Because I'd like to be able to love you better. Can we just sit and have a conversation? This, by the way, is one of those intimacy building conversations we talked about earlier. Very important to be able to do this. Step number 3 then, after you've done that, is to learn how real connection works. If you've had any of these signs and you thought this was just how love goes, we've got to recalibrate your understanding of relationships. So if you recognize yourself in any of these signs, here's the truth. It is not your fault. No one probably taught you how attachment and relationships are supposed to work. No one explained to you what oxytocin, vasopressin, cortisol, what they all do to your bond. No one showed you how to build a secure connection from the ground up. No one showed you how to have a discussion productively about the resentment you feel to get rid of it. No one showed you how to reunify after a conflict that wasn't normal for you, so you think it just adds up and suffering is normal. You think that the death of affection and the death of sharing stress and the death of communication is common in a relationship. That's exactly why I'm here to teach. And I put this together in a video course that will be helpful for you. I call it the How to Build a Secure Marriage video course, because these patterns don't just hurt couples. They destroy families, they destroy your self-worth, and they destroy your future. Inside that video course, which is for married couples, but also for couples who are dating, or for anybody who wants to date and get married, anybody who wants the depths of real, committed, fulfilling romance, that video course is for you, and it will show you the exact pathway to build that secure connection and make sure these 7 signs don't happen to you. Now, if you see these 7 signs, I don't want you to panic. Okay, there is no need to panic. What you need to do is pause, take a breath, okay, and pivot. This is your turning point. Your relationship was going this direction. You're going to pause and turn and go this direction instead. Okay, you're not heading into the darkness. You're headed toward the light and the love and the connection that you deserve and that you've been wanting all along. Okay? If you're watching this video, though, and you're thinking, wow, Adam, these signs, they sound eerily familiar to me, right? I'm really not comfortable with how close to my relationship you just hit. This feels like us. Okay? This is your moment. Now, I want to be clear again. This is not your moment to panic. This is not your moment to blame. This is not your moment to feel hopeless. Your moment to pivot. Most couples don't fail because of a lack of love, by the way. They fail because no one ever taught them how to build safety. And safety is the skeleton of a healthy relationship, the framework that holds love and connection and longevity in place. That is exactly why I created my course. How to Build a Secure Marriage shows you exactly what to do if no one else ever did. This isn't just for people with rings on their fingers again. It's for couples at any stage who are done guessing and finally want a roadmap. And plenty of single ladies and men take it and say, this is what I've always wanted. Now I know who to date and how to talk to them about what I'm looking for. Now, inside that course, you're going to learn how to rebuild safety after conflict, how to stop walking on eggshells, how to speak so that your partner really hears you and wants to hear you, and how to reawaken connection in a relationship, even if it has all 7 signs that we've talked about today. Reawaken it emotionally, spiritually, and physically. It's the exact structure I use with clients who come to me on the brink of divorce and who walk away with a relationship stronger than ever. So if you're tired of surviving in your relationship and you're ready to start living in it, click the link in the description below, get your copy of How to Build a Secure Marriage, and let's rebuild something worth keeping for you. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need the right tools and the courage to begin. Thank you for sharing your time with me here today. I am Adam Lane Smith, the Attachment Specialist. While you're grabbing your copy of that course, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, ring the little bell for notifications, and come back for my next live stream. I'd love to see you there.